everyone, Sakura-yasen here, and welcome to another episode of Pointy Chins, where I take you through my art journey. Now, this month was pretty hard for me at the time because I was moving apartments, and in Canada, when I moved apartments, it wasn't such a big deal. I mean, you just have to pack your stuff and whatever and move, but my experience so far in Romania has been that there is a lot of renovation involved, and for this move there was a ton, so I was spending a lot of my day dealing with we had to get new floors, get the walls all fixed, completely install a new kitchen with like all the appliances and the counters and everything. It was just a lot of work, so there wasn't as much time for drawing, and especially later on I think that'll show, but for now you can see just some different characters, fatter characters, skinnier characters, playing around with composition. Nothing too unusual, remembering perspective. Okay, put perspective in. And then I tend to always draw circles and stuff, because this is always important. It's good to keep up your penmanship, your hand skill, I guess you could call it. And here, more of that, this time ovals and stuff. And I usually do this at the end after I'm sort of exhausted. I don't know if it's better to do it in the beginning or at the end. Maybe it's good to do it both. Trying to focus on some movement and perspective. Again, perspective. This one I think I drew the figure and I didn't have space for the head, so she ended up holding her head. And this character I kind of like. At least I like how they're simplified shapes, and I think that's one of the biggest changes I've found, is how much I've gotten into just caring about shapes and like, oh, this is a cool shape. Oh, that's not a cool shape. Oh, I never really thought about that when I was starting out, just shapes, basic shapes. Is this an appealing shape? It was more like, oh, I'm drawing a face, or I'm drawing a character, or I'm drawing a monster, or whatever. But less about just negative and positive spaces. But that changed. Now here, what I wanted to do is take my figures and break them down almost like you would see in an anatomy book or something that's trying to teach you the proportions of a correct human figure, but I wanted to do the proportions of my figure. And the reason for that is that the better I understand it, the more useful it is to me, because what it comes down to is creating a generic human figure. And the reason isn't so that I keep drawing the same figure, but that I know what is different. So, for instance, this figure is 6 heads high. Now, a normal, realistic human, the figure tends to be around 7.5. Some people say, 7 3/4, or 7 or 8 heads tall. And the reason for this isn't that you always draw 8 head tall people, but rather you can quickly get the proportions of a person who is average size. And then if someone's not average, you can judge it based on like, oh, they're a bit shorter than average, or a bit taller than average. Now, 8 heads creates a very heroic, ideal proportion. So then if you go with that type of proportion, you're probably going to get very, ideal figures. I don't even like the term ideal because it's not really my term, but it would be what I learned would be, oh yeah, that's an ideal, maybe a Greek proportion or something. Anyway, so for my proportions, it's 6 heads tall, and I didn't even know this until I tested it, how tall is my thing. And I'm noticing a slant. I have this bias where everything is slightly slanted, and I got rid of it a while back when I was doing more drawings traditionally, and then I got into digital, and now it seems my bias has returned, so that sucks. But anyway, so there's that. And then I also, so I did some side views, different views, but then I went into my iterative approach, which is pretty much the same view, and then make minor changes. So I'm trying to figure out how to create a basic figure that I can keep replicating over and over very quickly, so I can do things like figure drawings, gesture drawings, just quick sketches, and not have to worry about, well, how tall is it? Does this look right? Does that look right? But rather have a general figure in your mind that you can manipulate however you want. And I did this already with realistic figures. Like I learned all the realistic proportions. You spend time learning those proportions, and then it's like, oh, this person might look different, but it's like, oh, they're taller than average. And so you have an average state. But for my style, it's so pushed that it wouldn't make sense to use that as the average. So I have to make my own average. But you can see there's a lot of changes. And here, one of the biggest issues was the pelvis. Figuring out like how tall is it? Is it more wide? Even more, this is like a triangle. And then this, see, it's more like you've got a box here, more like a, I don't know, trapezoid. And the hips, what angle is this at for the hips? And each time I'm not just drawing the same thing. As I said, I'm experimenting, how far apart are the legs? This is much more far apart than this, for instance. It's minute variation. But also I'm trying to work on I'm keeping the things that I like and getting rid of the things that I don't like. So each one should be getting closer to the ideal of what I want, or else it's very experimental. Like this one was like, well, what if I push the hips really wide, keep the body much smaller? And then here, I noticed something, and it's very important to notice things because it is how you build your knowledge base. And here, first of all, I noticed that, oh yeah, I did different angles for the hips, but this one seemed to feel right, and that was around 45 degrees. And it's like, aha, so a 45-degree angle seems to work. And then the other thing I noticed here is that the shoulders and the hips seem to line up. And it's like, oh, okay, so the iliac crest here is lining up with the shoulders. And that makes things a lot easier if I wanted to do a quick drawing. And it's like, well, where are the shoulders? Oh, yeah, they're going to be lined up with the hips. Or rather, the iliac crest of the hips, because it's not the widest part of the hips that's here. And that's a lot wider than the shoulders. And the other thing is, things like, oh, the ears are pretty close to the shoulders in my proportion. The head, the size of the head is pretty close in my weird proportions to the rib cage. So that, again, it's really helpful if I'm drawing a quick figure, rather than worrying about, is the head going to get too big and is the body going to be too small? It's like, well, here's the head. The rib cage is roughly the same size. Okay, much easier now. And then what all of these lines are is just that 45-degree angle, because I realized when I did it, it's like, okay, I can do this, but I'm not super fast with it. And I want it to be faster. I wanted to be able to see this angle much more quickly. And again, that's so I can do like a 30-second figure drawing and not have to be thinking so much. Because everything I get rid of at an early stage is not going to bother me later on when things get difficult. And sure, it might seem like, oh, this is easy, but to me, that's more reason to do it. That's more reason to get things working correctly, because they're fundamental. And fundamentals to me means you're going to be using these throughout the whole process, including the advanced stage. So might as well get them down. And then the next day, what I decided to do is how I usually, or not usually, but often start the day is to, like if I've studied something difficult or learned something, like, oh, my figures are 6 heads tall, the shoulders line up with the iliac crest, and the hips go at a 45-degree angle like this. It's like, well, then it's good to do a review the next day. So I did this, and then a back view, and then a side view, and then just some other stuff, then it gets a bit random, some figures doing movement. Trying to get a ground plane down, and I simplified it as, this type of, I guess you could call it like a floor mat. Like everybody has a floor mat. This person has a bit of a platform. But just giving this floor mat to get the sense of this person in perspective and thinking about it more. Because I remember Kim Jung-gi said something about how when he was starting out, he imagined boxes everywhere and people on boxes or around boxes or within boxes, and how that helped him. And so for me, it's like, well, I should do that too. Or at least, try to get closer to that. So here we go. Combining the two things. You've got a simplified figure on a floor mat. So you're getting practice in perspective and practice in drawing figures. And here too, same thing, perspective plus figures. And what I'm trying to do is connect these two. So perspective before was always very analytical and academic for me. And what I like to draw are organic things. And I don't like to spend time, with a ruler and drawing to the horizon, making everything exact and stuff. It's like, it takes too long. It's not fun for me. So it's important for me then to get much better at visualizing these things or not needing to draw things. And maybe it's not going to be perfect, but it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be believable. So that's what the point of all this is to make it so I get more practice and it gets more believable. And this one's floating, so it's got a floor mat and they're floating above it. And this one's got a bag. So something else that's important, and I don't think is perfect here, is to remember that, this figure occupies a space and this bag shouldn't intrude on that space. So had I moved this a bit closer here, that would have made it so this bag is actually cutting into her body. And this is something you see a lot with beginners, especially things like, the back shoulder might be cut into the rib cage or into the neck or something. And to solve that, you just have to really pay attention to construction and perspective and things. Like even these two boxes, like this woman is sitting on these boxes, and this box, this corner touches at this point. So this box is not inside this box, it's touching against that box. And more floor mats. And I like this figure, more pushed, more caricatured. And I think that was something that was important to me, is to get more caricatured, because I feel like a figure like this, that's cool and that's pushed and it's trying to be, it's like, oh yeah, you're creating these sharp things and trying to make sexy females and things. But there's also the caricature-y, comedic, almost cartoony thing that's part of what I want to do. And a lot of what I'm doing right now is combining everything together. So I have like this almost more anime eye shape and stuff, and exaggeration and energy mixed with maybe a more cartoony or maybe even French caricature type thing, mixed with the Western form and structure and anatomy. Not to say that French and Japanese don't have structure and anatomy, but just more clear form as well. So that's what I'm working on here. And again, more circles, concentric circles, because I think these are good exercises to do. And then these ones, this. I'm not sure about this. Maybe this were done from reference. And yeah, I guess these were all done from reference. So I notice like things are different when I do things from reference, like this face. I get to explore more, maybe outside of my style, or not outside my style, but outside of my comfort zone. Like the proportions aren't the same. For instance, my hips tend to be pretty wide, and here is a good example. This isn't what the person looked like, obviously, because this used to be this was referenced from a real life photo, or a photo of a real person, Jesus. But this is like, well, the hips are smaller, so how do I make it smaller and yet still within my style? But actually her hips were even smaller. But if my average is bigger, like my average hips of my average person are really big and the shoulders are smaller, then when I make a person whose hips are smaller, it's like they have to be small within my world, not within the real world. And yeah, making sure everybody's got their own mat. Floor mat type thing, or box. You can have a mat or you can have a box. And then this one is from reference. This was from reference. And then these are from imagination. These. And what I see is that from imagination, things seem a bit more flowy and loose. But from reference, I get more interesting things, like with this leg, for instance. I never would have thought of it like that. But the reference, the model in the reference had not this shape, but more like this. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, I get a lot from doing both. And then here, it's continuing, trying to stick perspective and environments with figures without them becoming too complicated yet, because I don't want to go crazy and then, oh, I'm going to add all these elements and I don't even know how to render like a simple figure with a simple box, but I'm going to try and do super hard things and screw up on them. It's like, no, I don't really want to do that. So that's just a basic figure in this like weird S-shapey thing. And this one, they're not that good. This is more of an exercise trying to get a circle and then circles within it. This one's not that good. This one's a bit better, but it gets a bit weak here. And here, I was trying to draw figures in perspective and these boxes in perspective. And basically, if they're in the same environment, even if this one's tilted this way and this one's tilted this way, they should still, the vanishing point should still be on the same horizon, because they're in the same world, so the horizon is going to be the same. And then these figures need to be in the same world. And the way you can make sure figures are in the same world is, like, if this figure's standing and it's and she is the same height as this figure, whatever is touching the horizon, so in this case, the horizon intersects with her eyes, that should be the same for every person who's her height and standing. Even if they're in the distance, the horizon should intersect at their eyes, so this person's in the background, and it does. So these two figures then would be roughly the same height. And with this one, she's kneeling down, and I figured they're about the same height, but then this one's going to be this giant person on the floor, and she's all like checking her out, like, whoa, found some giant person. And, just more exercise-y stuff. And here what I wanted to do is get an easier stick figure down that I could whip out in, again, 30 seconds. I could put them in any pose and draw this in 30 seconds. So I need a very simple skeleton. And this is so I can get poses down, because I feel like I want to work on poses, but I don't want to be fighting my basic skeleton. I don't want to be drawing a figure and being like, okay, so how wide are the shoulders again? And what are all these details? It's like, no, I just want to focus on the pose. And to do that, I need to have already internalized the basic stick figure. So I'm, trying to work on that here. And then playing around with some action. These all started with this stick figure, just with some more details added on top. And then this one I left undetailed. This one was starting to get detailed, but it's like, no, just leave him undetailed just as a way of showing what I was doing. And then these are just some heads. And then something happened with my Wacom Cintiq 22 HD with the display. And basically the colors just went completely wacky. And I tried a bunch of fixes and they didn't work. And I talked to customer support. And in the end, the solution was to send my Wacom over to them. But because I'm doing all these renovations at the new place, it was eating up a lot of my money. So I didn't have the money to actually ship it right away. And so it's a case of, well, okay, I don't have access to my Cintiq. What should I do? Well, maybe I can just draw in pencil. So this is all mechanical pencil. And with this, I think I scrunched up a tissue to create like a smoother, rubbing it so it creates like smooth tones. But then a lot of these tones, see all of these are just the normal mechanical pencil, no smudging. And the way you do that is you just make the lead really long. Like you keep clicking it until the lead's really long, and then you have to have a super soft touch and lightly shade. It took me, I've been using mechanical pencils for a really, really long time. So I'm not that uncomfortable with them, but I think it might be hard if you're just starting out to get smooth tones with mechanical pencils. And then here, just more stuff, people on floor mats, some guys just standing there thinking about the shapes, appeal. As always, it's all about appeal to me. And playing with hair, because it's like, I haven't really screwed around with hair too much in a while. And I feel like I go in spurts with these things. Like, I'll work on hair, and then it's like, yeah, okay, get better at it, and then move on to something else, and then move back to hair maybe, or faces, or whatever it is. And these are heart nipples. And this person's flying above their floor mat, so the floor mat's still there, and you still need a center point for the floor mat, but anyway. And then more hair. And then here, trying to use different grades of pencil. So I have a set of Stadler, whatever, graphite pencils. And I don't know what I use, like 2B, I use like 2H, HF, B, 2B, 3B, I think, is as far as I went. And then this one, I tried to incorporate pen, but it really failed. And a lot of, like, this was really bad. Just, no. Very Escher Girls pose, but I couldn't do anything because it was already pen. And can't erase pen, so just had to live with it. So here, going into hair and bringing out the old brush pen to, isolate the hair. And here I'm really trying to experiment with what if I just simplify it way down to one strand, and how would that strand flow, and making things very crazy. This S goes like around. Just experimenting, playing around, and some more. I didn't feel like I really got the hair thing, so it's like, oh, okay, put some more work into it. It's not going to hurt because you can always use this. And I really like the hair to look three-dimensional, almost like there are these anime action figures you can get, and I don't have any because I haven't been able to justify spending that much money on them, and they tend to be pretty expensive. But anyway, the point is their hair looks like three-dimensional in a way that I prefer to actual hair sometimes, because it's just structured, and that's something I try and replicate. So there's that. And then here, trying to combine pen and pencil, with like pen for the outline and then pencil for the shading. And I don't know, it's okay, I guess. It's not great. There's still issues with it, but it's a thing. And then here, more figures and their mats and adding color. And this one kind of reminds me of Ragyo from Kill la Kill. And then these ones I really hated. I tried to do some weird perspective, but it came out so bad, so I didn't want to give them any pen. It's like, no, you are not okay. But see, still the floor mats. And then here's a Superman. I don't really like Superman as a design. I think his design's pretty bad. Especially some things I didn't even notice were things like this, like his belt goes into his underwear. It's like, really weird. But because I wasn't really happy with the design, I was actually more curious to see what it would look like in my style. And it's like, well, he has this S shape in his hair, but then I really exaggerated it because I always exaggerate hair. And it's like, oh, okay. So that's something. And then made everything more pointy. A few people have commented that he looks very homosexual, which is okay with me because whatever, it's fine. And then here, more hair stuff. And then I tried to give this one braids, but then I guess I forgot how to do braids. And I remember seeing tutorials for them, and I sort of looked at it and like, oh yeah, yeah, that's cool. But I never really did it. I never put time into it. So I got to this point, and I was like, wait, how do you do this again? I thought like you start with some zigzaggy thing and then what? And I have a terrible memory. And I was thinking instead of just looking it up and finding the right answer, it might be better to train my memory if I try to solve it. Use logic and try and figure it out. What do these braids look like? And here it's like, no, problems. And then here it's, no, that's not right. And then here it's like, yeah, kind of. And then kind of. And then I think here I got it. It's like, okay, I kind of get what's going on now. And then here I tried to color these in, but it didn't work because like this strand, this black, should come around here, but this is white, so that's wrong. but this one's more correct. So like the black goes around here and then comes here. So there's 3 strands of hair in a braid, or clumps, like groups. And so I just color coded them. So this red one goes, and then the white one goes, and the black one goes, and it's easy if you just look at it as like, oh, color this, skip 2, color it, skip 2, color it, and then same with this. Color this, skip 2, color it, skip 2, and yeah. Anyway, so then put braids everywhere, and then more hairstyles. This one's a bit stupid, but whatever. And then this person looks pretty cool, very intimidating posture. And then here, I was drawing a figure again, and then trying to draw it simplified again because it wasn't that comfortable. Like, it's not enough to be good, you have to be fast and good. Or not enough to be correct. You have to be fast and correct. Yeah, and then this one from 3/4 back, and then back view, and yeah, still struggling with these. Okay, so make sure you do them more. I'm drawing some gestures. These are pretty bad, though. I don't know. They don't feel right. Yeah, I guess a lot of this is sort of getting close to burnout, because at this stage, I was still pretty much the whole month of January. I was dealing with the apartment stuff and just a lot of calling in plumbers and this and that. It was very, very annoying. Not much energy for art. But this one, I kind of like this guy, and this one too. It looks like they're both reacting to something off screen. I think that's funny. And more people sitting. This guy's sitting on a box. This person's doing some kind of flexible contortion-y thing. I don't know what happened to this guy. He's in a flower pot. In this funny shape. And this person's on a mat. And then someone suggested I do Roo, the character Roo from Winnie the Pooh. And at first I was kind of annoyed because it was like, but they're so different. How could I do? The style is completely different. What am I going to do? Give Roo cartoony anime eyes? Or how's this going to even work? And then I started to think about it more and realize I'm getting pretty defensive about this. Why? And I thought, it's probably because I'm not too comfortable with this thing, and maybe I need to think about this more rationally. So took a breather and I thought about it. Okay, so what is really going on with this character? Because you don't have to think, oh, do I have to give them my eyes? It's like, no, that's not what your style is. In your style, things get sharper, things get more appealing, things like hands and feet tend to get bigger, heads tend to get bigger, the body tend to get smaller. You play around with positive and negative shapes. It's like, oh, yeah, I suppose I could do this. So I did this, and then I colored it after, but I wasn't happy with the coloring, and luckily I scanned it before I colored it. So I posted it online, and I colored it with a mouse. But anyway, this is just with Winsor Newton Pro Markers and brush markers. And then, yeah, I included some... I don't know. For some reason, because it was like a kid's thing, I have this inner... I don't know if it's a troll or something, but it's just like, I don't like taking myself too seriously. I don't like doing super clean, pure things. That's why I also put Easter eggs in my video, just to make me get over this feeling of when something's too perfect, especially if I'm making a video and I'm trying to give advice, I can't shake the feeling of like, who do you think you are giving advice? You don't know what you're talking about and stuff. And it's like, But then it's more like, well, if I add an Easter egg in, at least I know, well, I'm not taking this seriously. This is just an opinion. And so ruining my things is one way of doing that, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's not a good thing to do. And then more hair here. But what was really important to me was changing the hair, sure, but also changing the face and also changing the expression. So they would have a hairstyle and an expression and a different features. So for instance, this one has like more of a shaved head and different eyes, different nose, different mouth. This one's eyes are close together and tiny mouth. This one has a big mouth. This has thin lips. This has thicker lips. Just a lot of variation in all of them, I think anyway. And that's what I want. I want a lot of variation in my characters. And then I forget exactly where I heard it. I think I heard it from multiple different places, but it was something like what you draw is your subject, and the lighting you put on the subject is how you want people to feel about it, or something like that. Like what you draw is what the thing is, and how you light it is how you want people to feel about it. And so it's like, oh, that's a cool idea. So I tried that, and it does work. Like, oh, this figure looks kind of boring without the lighting, but then with the lighting, it's like, oh, maybe this is some kind of person praying, and these are like some holy light things, and this one's more like caught in, maybe they're in a room with blinds and they're caught. And these two were the way of really trying to prove this. I did characters, they're supposed to be the same, drawn the same way, but obviously there's some difference. And then just changing where the light is coming from. So this one, it's coming from underneath, and this one is coming from more classically top right. And then it's like, yeah, there's a big difference. And then this is thinking more about not just the lighting, but graphic shapes. Same with this one, graphic. And I kind of like how this one's simplified. This one is a person, and they're like they're on a roof and they're overlooking a city or something. And there's a circle of this kid. I thought this one turned out well. I wanted the kid to feel vulnerable, and so the light is coming at him. He's on the ground, and the shadow and stuff. It's like, yeah, that's good. That's something to pursue. And I feel like because I've gotten a bit better with my proportions and stuff, now I'm able to venture out into things like this. Like, oh, this is more of an abstract shape thingy. I think originally this was supposed to be a person. This is their head, this is their body, and then they've got like robes on, and this is like blowing in the wind, and there's some kind of stuff happening. Person looking at a computer screen. But yeah, so it's like step one is learn the basics and maybe the boring stuff, the generic stuff, and then step two is, improve on it and start doing things with those figures. And then here, I think this one, and this one were done from reference, and then the rest were imagination. So still working on this idea of lighting, and trying to do things that I guess I wouldn't have thought of before. Like drawing this figure pretty much entirely and then putting almost everything in shadow, There's a bit of light on her hair, a bit of light on the arm, but really this is all shadow. And it looks fine to me. So that's good. Good experiment. And then here's just some figure drawings. I don't think they're very good. They're all from imagination, but it's more the, like this guy's jumping and then blocking or shooting an energy or something. And I think the brush pen, blocking it in, I'm using red ink. That helps to make the silhouette strong, but I'm not super happy with these. I don't feel like any of them are really that good. I still felt very tired at this stage. And because of that, I started drawing differently. I was getting to the point where I was just super exhausted, and it was coming across in my art, like seeing everything's getting more scribbly, more I don't know, weird in a way. Like the proportions are changing a bit. This guy's very scribbly, much more rounder shapes than normal, than with all the sharp ones. This person, just different shapes. And here, pushing things more. I guess this is more like, oh. And this one as well, it's more like, it's still got a lot in common with my style. That's why I don't think it's breaking the style, but it's just different. And this was a shot from, like, I was in bed drawing what was in front of me. And there's nothing in the room. This was a box with, I think it was a toaster oven or a microwave box or something. And this was a tray with a mug on it and a bag of chips. And then I tried to exaggerate it and make this wider because it was really wide, and make these taller because they were more tall. I saw this small Dr. Pepper can, and it was very short. And so I tried to make it wider and shorter. That's kind of how you caricature things, but then it just ended up looking like a propane tank. So it's like, no, got to make it tall, even though it is short. Got to exaggerate the height of it. And then more stuff, drawing circles and stuff. Usually I do that, again, at the end when I have no more creative energy left. And this one's okay, I guess. And more stuff. Again, these are pretty quick because I don't have much time for drawing at this stage. Just doing what I have with what little energy I have left. And a few times, I think this was one of the days that I didn't get any sleep. There are a few days where just no sleep at all. And then this guy is, I don't know, he just looks weird to me. I don't know, more scribbly stuff, concentric circles. I kind of like this shape, and this, and then how it goes into the head. And this is pretty appealing to me. I think that works okay. And then here, a bit more time, so more opportunity to bring out the pen and block out the compositions. And this guy's at a bar. And this one I just wanted to make the eyes glow and the figure to be all in shadow. These don't really work, but they were more experiments. Like, oh, what if I put the lines this way or this way or this way? And I decided, well, it's not Photoshop. I can't just put it down and then copy and paste and undo and stuff. So I just settled on vertical, and I don't know if it worked well, but hey, it's an experiment. And sometimes the experiments are not going to be successes. In fact, most times they won't be, so that's just how it goes. And then these two, I think this is pretty nice for a composition. This guy's facing this guy. And this guy, this looks pretty good. It's pretty dynamic to me anyway. Maybe a guy jumping out of a plane or something, I don't know, flying in the air. And then these are supposed to be suspension bridges. This one's going over a bunch of tree cover, and then, or a canopy, and then this is some mountains in the background, sky, and this one is like a floating island, and then another bridge going, and then it like connects way up there. This one playing around with lighting to show mood, and then this one as well, the same thing, but this character is supposed to look vulnerable and defeated maybe, and this one's more dominating. These are just some simplifying it into just graphic shapes. It should look cool as a graphic, because the thing is, if someone's going to look at your work, and chances are they're going to look at it, maybe it's in a physical gallery, or if it's even in a digital gallery, they're going to look at it from a distance, or else it's going to be pretty small on the page. So you want it to catch their eye even at a very small size. And so that's what I'm trying to work on. These are supposed to be looking at someone from, like, these are beams, and you're above maybe the ceiling height, and you're looking down on somebody. That didn't really work out. And this is like an alleyway with a bunch of stuff, I guess. And this is another flying person or something. And then these are just getting so abstract. They're more like nothing really, just clouds or energy or something. But again, it's just, is this shape appealing? Does it read from a distance? Does it catch your eye that you would look and like, oh, what's that? And then this one, more perspective, giving people their floor mats. But I tried to like start at the top, and then without looking at the perspective, try and draw it so it's moving down, down, down. So we end up looking down and then down at her, but it didn't really work. And then when you put the perspective in, it's like, oh, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So that wasn't very good. But, try your best. And then here, I put her leg here, and then I didn't like it, so I switched it. But because it's pen, Now she just has multiple legs, but I use the red only on certain parts. So it's like you'll only look at these legs, hopefully, and you don't notice that, oh yeah, there's another leg in there. And even if you do, it doesn't matter. It's really, this is not a sketchbook for show, although I do show it on these Pointy Chins things, but really it's just for my own self-improvement and to show you the reality of what that's like. Yeah, I think this one's hair. And this one, I wanted to draw more gesture, and I kind of like these two. It's like, whoosh, you got the energy, but then this one I really didn't like. And then I realized, like, yeah, I'm drawing a lot of guys. So I thought, I've got so many pages where I draw like a bunch of girls and then one guy. Maybe I'll do a bunch of guys and one girl or something this time. Really focusing on gesture. This guy's got many different arm and leg positions. Like, these are all possibilities. But the one I settled on, I just used red to indicate it. And I think it's pretty cool. I don't know what he's holding. Maybe a spear or a sword or something. Who knows? But yeah, it's pretty interesting to me. And then this character, you know, thinking about shape and just what is a cool shape, what is an appealing shape. Designs. Everybody gets their own floor mat to describe the perspective. And then here's the one girl. And finally, more floor mat people. But again, see how scribbly it's getting? And I used to scribble a lot more than I do now. But I guess because I was reaching my limit with my energy, I was sort of just falling back on things and sort of letting myself get out of this. Because I mentioned in a video I did a while back called, what was it called? Let Impulse Triumph. And what it really was about are things like this. Like, basically, allow yourself to pursue things that maybe, like, I could look at this and be like, well, but I'm not drawing it the way I'm supposed to. This is too rounded in a way, too squiggly, too messy. But instead it's like, no, just see where it goes, you know, allow yourself to explore. And see, like, this guy's made up of much more rounded shapes. There's some sharpness to it, but it's a lot more rounded and boxy and different shapes than I usually do. And I like this guy. I don't know what it is, but I think it's funny. But yeah, getting experimental, going outside of, this is more normal, I guess, to what I usually draw, but this is very different. Or maybe it's not too different, but anyway. Yeah, getting more experimental. So in the next month, I'm going to continue, and stay tuned to see where we end up. And I hope you're getting something out of these Pointy Chins videos, and thanks for watching.